the rebirth, which I even had a small hand in with Terrifier too. You had a role in that. So yeah, what was that like?
Another like stalking event. I went and stalked them in 2018 at New Jersey HorrorCon. I was like, you don't understand, I'm a huge fan. Oh my god, oh my god. And poor Damien was probably like, I have to put her.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Average Superstar TV. I'm your host, Lauren Lepre. Please do me that honor and boom, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. We have a new show every Monday. And this week, we are back in the horror movie world. We've got one amazing guest. Someone we all know from horror films for sure. She's definitely one of the original horror queens from the Sleepaway Camp, Terrifier 2, Hatchet, and a boatload of more. Felissa Rose, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. You're so awesome. I just adore you. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, you're so happy to finally have you on. And, I'd love to start blowing out some of these awesome questions, but you definitely have an interesting career. But everything has a beginning. So I'm kind of curious if we hit that rewind button. When did you get the acting bug?
It's hard for me to even really remember like where it began because I was like probably 2 or 3 telling my parents that I wanted to sing and dance. So I was always trying to entertain people and make people laugh. But, it wasn't until I was like 8 or 9 that I went into like a real dancing school and sending them to professional, places where there were real directors and real movies and real TV shows. And that's when I met Robert Hiltzik from Sleepaway Camp, the writer-director.
Sweet. So I was unaware. Is Sleepaway Camp your first movie?
My first movie. Yeah.
Wow.
I was 12 when I auditioned. I just turned. I was 12 when I auditioned, and then 13 when we filmed.
Wow, crazy. And where was that actually filmed?
It was Glens Falls, New York. It was like upstate New York, by Albany, and it was like a little kind of strip mall where we had a motel, a bowling alley, a bar, a supermarket, and then we would take a van 30 minutes to the camp.
Sweet. And that's when we had so many camps across the country.
Oh, it was the real Sleepaway Camp of Robert Hiltzik. It was his real camp called Camp Algonquin. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's so amazing. So, I mean, so this movie, I mean, especially with like that shocker ending, like wow, like when this hit, I gotta stay right where we're at here. When you first read the script, you're 12 years old. Mm-hmm. Did you understand what was happening at the end? I understand the world kind of changed, it caught up and everything, but for me, I was 13 years old. At the end, I was just more of like, I was confused. So did you understand what was really happening at the end of that when you first read it?
No, I don't think I did. I think the only thing I understood was that it felt like it was really camp and I'd be with real teenagers because Sleepaway Camp was really kids. We weren't in our 20s. We were 13, 15, 17. And it just felt like I was going to go have a good time. So I wasn't really looking deeply into the material. But I thought the ending was cool. I was like, oh, wow, that's something different. We haven't seen that. And I was, the person I am today, like anything that comes my way, I'm thrilled to embark on. I love adventure. I love all kinds of, new things thrown at me. And it was very interesting.
When it gets its theater, when it gets released in theaters, I mean, I don't keep up with the box office at that age, but because I'm a young kid at the time. But I mean, does the movie start off out of the gate doing good, or is it kind of gradually over the course of time, word of mouth? How did that work out?
Yeah, it did pretty well. It made like $11 million in the box office. So for 1983, that was a pretty good, that was a good run. It was against another movie called Yentl, Barbara Streisand's Yentl. And it beat Yentl and Amityville. I think it was Amityville 3D.
Wow.
We were both in the theaters at the time, and so it was kind of like those three neck and neck. But it kind of, Sleepaway Camp came to theaters, and then it came out in November of 1983, and then it came out again in June of '84. But it was sort of one of those films that came and went, and I thought, oh, that was exciting, that was fun. And it wasn't until like the internet, that I really heard, like late '90s, 2000, that people remembered it.
Hmm.
It
So
was,
that's when, I mean, you had Fangoria and Chiller going on, but that was like before the explosion of conventions.
yeah.
So you were kind of unaware of how big the film was?
Oh, completely. Like, okay, if anyone ever remembers this movie, that would be terrific. But if not, that's okay too. I was in theater in New York and loving my life. And then Fangoria did call to do the 2001 Weekend of Horrors. And that was when we went to our first convention as a cast with Robert Hiltzik. And we saw people knowing the movie, and we were shocked. It was shocking. We were like, wow, this is thrilling. This is really blowing our minds. And we signed for about 5 hours afterwards, and it was just very, like, overwhelming in a great way. Like, holy cow. I remember just kind of stopping in my tracks, like, I can't believe this is happening, So it was wonderful.
That's awesome. Let's stay right where you're at with conventions, because I know you're everywhere with these things. I mean, how has these conventions changed your life, and what's it like just being loved by the whole horror community, like not just America, around the world?
I love conventions. And truthfully, I've always been really insecure. So I I I can't describe it. Like, I think I had a lot more of Angela in me than probably meets the eye, because I seem to be outgoing and everything, but that's sort of my way to get through my own social, you know, maybe awkwardness. So I think finding conventions saved me, because it made me find people that I felt connected to, because I'm a horror fan, and I finally felt like I could breathe, because I had so much in common with everyone who attends conventions, from, guests to actors to filmmakers to promoters. It's like we're one loving community, and it's just brought so much joy to my life that it's my happy place. I couldn't imagine life without conventions. I've met all of my close friends from conventions. It's my weekend time away. It's fun. It's exciting. I'm just really happy.
Yeah, you're always a walking smile at these things.
I'm so grateful. Like sometimes I'm like, I have to pinch myself. I hope it never goes away. Like, I just want to be here and be with everyone. And it really, aside from my kids, my 3 kids are the greatest joys in my life. Conventions and all of our community is also right there next to it. Like, such a joy.
That's great. I mean, yeah, like I said, you and maybe Jennifer Banco could have WrestleMania. Who's always
Yeah.
smiling, having the
That's
biggest
so
smile at
cute. I
these
know.
conventions.
She's a sweetheart. Yes, she's such a joy. She's a doll. I appreciate that.
Yeah, she's amazing. You're amazing. So, but right after Sleepaway Camp, I'm just kind of curious, is you just, I know you kind of brought up New York and all that, but were you trying to get into more horror movies, like mainstream, or was it just you're an actress wherever the ball lands?
Yeah, it was more of that. It was like, always have lived my life like just going with the flow. I never tried to make anything like happen, and I wasn't getting any calls from anyone, not horror, not mainstream, and that was fine with me. I was busy just kind of doing my own thing with my friends. I was doing dinner theater. I was doing off Broadway, like fun, unique, original shows with friends. And then, like I said, once Fangoria Weekend of Horrors happened, um, I was sort of finding websites where people were like talking about how they really enjoyed Sleepaway Camp. And then a couple of directors reached out and said, "Oh, would you like to be in my short? Would you like to be in my movie?" Dante Tomaselli from, I did a couple of movies with him, Horror and Satan's Playground. And then the ball started rolling where it was like, I love horror. And then horror was opening its arms to me. And it was sort of like a love affair. And that's when things started to kind of come together where it was like, this is where I want to be. This is the genre I've always loved. And it just kind of naturally segued into that kind of, way in that road.
Sweet, sweet. So I just got to ask this one. I know they made 2 more parts of that. Were you approached? I'm just kind of curious. What was the story about the second and third one with you?
Yeah. So I was probably 16, maybe 17 when they started talking about Michael Simpson was doing parts 2 and 3. And I had the same manager that I had from the original Sleepaway Camp. So they called and said, "Oh, would you like to come in and read?" And I said, "Sure, I would love to." When looked at the script right there, and it was like totally different. It was a completely different, um, you know, genre. It was comedy now because it was late 80s. I
Yeah.
was, Angela was grown up. And I didn't understand this Angela. Here I was playing like the, awkward, shy introvert. And this was like the wisecracking, funny. So I kind of didn't, um, connect with the words on the page, and I just said, I don't think this is really for me. He loved Pamela Springsteen, so that worked out beautifully because she's amazing in that role.
Mhm.
I had just gotten into college, so I went to study, and it all worked out perfectly because she 2 and 3 are amazing. I love those sequels, and she's brilliant.
What? Out of curiosity, I know because you're talking highly of her. I mean, where is she? Like, you never hear anything out of her. She just want privacy.
Yeah, I think she's a photographer, and I I'm not quite sure if she's acting or wants to act, or I know a lot of people have tried to approach her to do all kinds of like, you know interviews and whatnot, and she's not really that interested. So I don't know. I've never met her. I've never spoken with her. I left her a note on Instagram just praising her and telling her what a huge fan I am. But
Mhm.
I imagine, she has quite the life. Her brother is Bruce Springsteen. So I don't think she's interested.
You definitely could see it in the face. That's for sure. Yeah,
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
they're Springsteens. Like walking down the street, like they've got to be related.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I mean,
Definitely.
was there ever like I've always been saying if they've ever tried to could do a continuance of this in any way, I would be great if they could get you and her in the movie and like whoever the new Angela is wipes both of you out and gives you like 2 different character names, different names, and I think that'd be really cool.
That's a great idea, Pamela. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'll see about getting the rights to it.
Woohoo! Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah. So all that led to so many films, like everything. But I mean, obviously, some of the bigger ones you're most known for was one of the most fun films out there, Hatchet. You were in one of those.
Oh my gosh. And it's so funny with Hatchet because I was a huge and still am a huge fan of Hatchet, the original. And I remember I had gotten to California not too long after that movie had come out. Um, and I would go to Dark Delicacies in Burbank and look at like, you know, the the DVD, and like I'm looking up because it was like on the wall, the poster. And I was such a fan of the movie. I watched it a million times, and I loved Adam Green. I just thought, like, wow, I saw Frozen and all his other movies. I was like, this guy is so talented and so amazing. And then in 2016, I had the opportunity to meet him at a convention, and I was so nervous at Rock and Shock. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I could do this. I ran up to him. I was like, hi, I'm Felissa Rose, and I just want you to know I love you and I love your work, and nice meeting you. And I laughed. And then he emailed me like a month later and said, hey, do you want to come on my scary sleepover? And I jumped around my house for like a half hour screaming like, oh my God, oh my God, Adam Green just asked me to. So my family thought I was crazy. But when I did the scary sleepover, I was imitating my mom and my managers and how they all talk like this in New York. They
Yep.
were like, yeah, you want to be an actress. All right. And so in his brain, he was starting to write Victor Crowley and thought, oh, that would be a funny character. So kind of came together, and that was the greatest joy of my life. Like working with Adam Green was one of the greatest experiences of my life. Working with that cast was like just a everyday
It was
joy.
a
And
good named cast. I could see all you gelling. I imagine you guys had a good time putting that film together.
Dave Sheridan's my best friend, Tiffany Shepis. We had Crystal Joy Brown, who's like the most beautiful woman, Laura Ortiz, who's so freaking talented, Jonah Ray, Tyler Main, like all these great, phenomenally talented people. Perry Shen, who I love and adore. There was nothing greater. Like working with him was just all we did was laugh. So it's great.
Crazy. And then obviously the rebirth, which I even had a small hand in with Terrifier too. You had a role in that. So
Woo-hoo!
yeah, what was that like?
Another like stalking event. Yeah, in 2018 I met Damien Leone for the first time and David Howard Thornton at New Jersey HorrorCon, where we were last weekend.
Yep.
And I was and again still am a huge Terrifier fan. I think I chased him around the whole convention like, oh my God, I love you, oh my God. And I think he truly felt like I kind of have to like give this woman a part. She's just like this insane fan, and I am. I've since had such a beautiful friendship with all of them, that I feel incredibly grateful to be just a tiny little piece of that universe, and you are too. And it, again, community connects us. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing because when you're walking around the conventions, you don't realize some of those people are part of other films or are about to be. They're about to be like the next. It all starts somewhere. I can tell you straight up now, if like I wasn't going to Monster Mania starting in 2003, I wouldn't have been able to make the Dark Military. And by film festivals compared to anything, even to leading into Damien and Terrifier, because how many people would be hitting Damien up daily, every hour on the hour? Like, let me help. I want to do something. Put me in.
Yeah.
And, I deal with that at my end, and Damien's way gigantic compared to me, but I get it. So, but.
You know what? We're all one group. And the beautiful thing, and this again circles back to like the conventions and the horror community, we all help each other. Everybody. It's important. It takes a village, and it takes everyone. And especially now with the way films are being made and being funded, we're talking about a lot of Indiegogo movies. And I just want to say like a huge thank you to everyone who's gotten involved. It's all of us. We all make these movies. We are family. And I'm incredibly grateful for it. It can't happen without everyone. And just thank you. Thank you.
Sweet. Yes, it's an amazing time, and I mean, I think you've always been doing it right since I've seen you. I think that's another reason you're invited back so much, because you're so fan friendly.
Oh, thank you. I do love people. I love getting in the minds of everyone and talking to everyone and having fun and partying with everybody. So for me, conventions are like just again, they're so exciting and wonderful.
And you even MC the karaoke.
I have way too much fun. Somebody needs to take that mic out of my hand.
That's great. It's great. All right, Felissa, I'm going into the last round, and I have a part where I call 10 rounds, where it's some random questions, some from music, some from film, some from pop culture. I would tell you if there's anything doesn't pertain to you, just take a pass, but I think you're going to be fine, all right? So this is just a little bit of a fun here. What is your favorite band of all time?
Oh, you're killing me. My favorite band of all time. That's really hard. I'm all over the place. I can go Slayer, I can go Chicago, I can go Rolling Stones, Metallica. There's so many Hall and Oates. I'm like,
So,
70s, 80s,
so you're like
metal,
a
rock.
top dozen, top 20. You don't really favor one particular.
Right.
Sweet. I would like to
Right.
jump in and say I've seen every band you named, so I totally know
And
what you mean.
are you obsessed with all of those bands?
I did. I'm not so much. Some of them are, but I'm a concert goer. I would say I'm more into music before film because
What's your favorite band of all time? Kiss?
no, I have seen Kiss. Kiss is such like corporate that I kind of get a little turned off
I
by them.
think
But
that's what I get like a little,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But I have to respect them because they at least admit it. Like they have Kiss
Sure.
condoms. I mean, and Kiss
Yeah.
caskets. I mean,
And
I,
they're
I
you.
will. I will always say the first band that I fell in love with in the 80s will still always be Guns N' Roses. But I mean, I can immediately go like Nick Cave and the Bad Seed, Leonard Cohen, Patti Smith, Joni Mitchell.
Oh, yeah.
I could go all over the place. Like,
Sure.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So when I was younger, obviously the Slayer and Anthrax, Metallica, that was what talked to me. But I like to go deeper into like Bob Dylan now and like Lou Reed, like
Lou Reed, yeah.
like deep music. Maybe that's gonna pass in time, but right now, that's where I'm at. But my second question to you would be following that up. Maybe you haven't answered this. What's your favorite album of all time?
You know, I also love Michael Jackson so much. I was like a big Thriller kid, and you can't go wrong with Michael Jackson and Thriller and like old school.
Without a doubt, I think it still is the top gross
Is it? It's one of the
album.
greatest. I mean, you hear it and it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing. That music is like has impacted all of us. So
It is, and it's the best video since it's a film.
I think that's what it is too. It's really taken all of us by storm like that. The makeup.
Yeah.
I was so, like taken with all of the prosthetics and the work that they did. It was just fascinating to me at that time, at that age. It was like, wow.
Yeah, and I remember like I'm a child, but me and my cousin Christopher would put the videotape of that on repeatedly and
Yeah.
try to do the dances, but we're like 8, so it's like we
Yeah. Absolutely. I remember watching it on TV the night it happened and like screaming, it was crazy. Yeah, amazing.
Last question of the music genre. What's your favorite club you like to see a band at?
Here I'm in Los Angeles, so I used to go to the Viper all the time, or Key Club, or Wiltern is amazing. Yeah, I would say those are some of the better places because they're a little bit more intimate. I like House of Blues. They're cool too.
Awesome. The Strip's pretty awesome. I've been to the Viper. Yeah,
it's really fun. Yeah.
Who's your favorite actor of all time?
I'm a huge Meryl Streep fan. I have always been just completely enamored by the way that woman has morphed herself into so many different, incredibly strong characters. So yeah, she's amazing.
Great choice. I'm not stunned by that one at all. What's your favorite film of all time?
Oh, that's hard because I have like genres that I love, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. But then I love so many movies. I love Fargo. I love Casablanca. I love The Bad Lieutenant. I love, I'm all over the place. I love Tootsie. I love all Quentin Tarantino films. I love The Godfather.
I think Bad Lieutenant doesn't get enough respect. That was a good one.
I agree. That's an amazing film.
Yeah. Do you have a particular favorite convention?
I have about 100 favorite conventions, and I'm attending all of them this year.
All right, cool. Is there a particular scream queen that you have not worked with that you would like to?
Oh my goodness. I love all the women in our genre. Love them. We're a lot of us are close. I have not really worked with Adrienne Barbeau, and I really have mad respect for her. We've met and we've spoken on the phone. We've had dinner. She's someone that I really admire and have again a lot of respect for. So I'd love to work one-on-one with her.
Awesome. And is there, for right now, particularly this year, to give advice to any new actor coming into this business, what would it be?
Dream huge, dream big, go. Like, put it out there in the universe, manifest that, find like-minded people, go to class, whether it's online or in person, find groups of people who want to do what you're doing, who want to make movies, who want to do theater, who just want to talk about creating stuff. Always keep your dreams alive. That's what keeps us alive.
Love that answer. And the final question, it's a fun one. I always love hearing the response. Who is your favorite person from history or even living? You know, it could be passed on or current that you're just so drawn to. Like when you hear the person's name, you're just like, wow, like, yeah, they do it for you.
My mom.
Okay.
My mom is amazing. I hope my mom watches this, and she will because she watches everything. She
Hi, Mom.
has been the most. She's shown me what giving a kind heart and being generous with people, and she's the true meaning of love and gratitude.
You can't get any better answer than that. I like it.
She's my best friend.
Sweet. Felissa, this was one awesome interview. Thank you
Thank
so much for giving me your
you
time.
for taking the time to chat with me and being patient with, us not being able to get it together. But you're amazing, and I adore you, and thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on, and I thank the audience for taking the time once again to check out Average Superstar TV. Give me the best compliment you could by giving me a share and that subscribe.
Share. Yes.
And at this time, Felissa, I'm giving you the floor. Is there anything you want to plug, or for anyone who wants to get a hold of you for a film? Go for it.
I'm always on Instagram, so Felissa Rose 123. I chat with people on there. I love that platform, that social media platform out of all. And just, I put things out there on Twitter and Facebook and everything. Some fun horror movies are coming, and just thank you so much. I'm super grateful to be part of our community. Thank you.